All right. It's that day, y'all. It's Championship Sunday. It's on. Broncos country. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Because, man, it doesn't get any bigger than this. Patriots, who, by the way, just got into town sometime yesterday or last night, are here to face Denver Broncos. And, man, I gotta say, I haven't been more hyped than I have been at this particular point. Of course, this is Broncos talk. It's your boy A and J, and we're doing things a little bit different. No pictures right now. If anything, we'll probably save that for post game show. We'll see how that works out. But either way, man, I gotta say, I'm actually really doing everything I can to stay warm, like no other right now. I mean, it's quite cold today. It is actually, I don't think that's what I wanted to look for here, but I'll go ahead and just get my phone here, check this out. Yesterday it was about somewhere between 12 and 19 degrees. It's not much better today. Surprisingly, it's not snowing, which it was kind of expected to do that. It did snow Friday night. It is currently 27 degrees. Feels more like well, it says feels like 18. I'm inclined to say more like 12 or 15, but I digress. I mean, it's cold than a motherfucker right now. I guess it is expected to snow at some point. 81% chance of snow to be. I mean, I'm no meteorologist, but that's just fucking wild to think about right now. I mean, it's saying a lot if I'm cold, like to the point to where you're gonna wind up seeing me in the gray hoodie today, maybe even a jacket on top of that. It's hard to say. I'm just thinking it's wild. It's been a long time since I've actually done one of these, and it's actually felt like this. I can't remember what it was for Super Bowl 10 years ago, but if nothing else, it was definitely pretty cold. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said it was much better. I actually was living out in Phoenix, Arizona at the time, and of course, I flew in for Super Bowl weekend just for the fact that I just so happened to have had some stuff I needed to take care of, coincidentally. But I gotta say, the vibe, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't the same, but also different at the same time. I mean, it just feels bigger than it did 10 years ago. I'm not really sure how or why. I honestly wish I'd have been doing my live reactions back then because if you'd seen me and how I was with that particular game, oh my goodness. I mean, I messed around and probably broke my toe just because of how wild that shit was. Was limping around pretty good for at least a few days, but and I guess broke was probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but it sure as shit felt like it. It was at least a sprain to say the very least. It might have even been a week that I wasn't walking right. I don't know. Either way, it's it's really interesting thinking about this because a lot of things were actually different at the time. For one, I still had all my grandparents. That's no longer the case, unfortunately. Um, Not that I'm trying to do any kind of a pity party kind of thing or anything like that, but it's certainly weird having gotten used to those losses, the loss of quite a few other relatives and even friends for that matter that, you know, um, I feel as if a lot's happened, a lot's changed since then. Not just that. Obviously, the world is certainly a different place. I mean, you can connect the dots on how all of that comes together, but really that's neither here nor there. It's really more fascinating than anything else because the calm before the storm is like, I'm not really sure how else to describe it other than, you're walking through it and you know it's coming on. You can actually feel it in your bones pretty much throughout your entire being. But if nothing else, one thing that I will say here is I'm just ready for the fucking game right now. That's really all I know to say. I mean, gosh, it's literally 11:34 out here in Denver. I'm already hyped for it to be 1 o'clock. Like, I honestly want to go and hit someone myself. I'm so hyped. And if that's not football shit for you, I don't know what is. Of course, there are a lot of people that are still doubting the Broncos, and let them do that. That's just going to work out against them accordingly as it has throughout the year. Now, the difference between 10 years ago is that what's going on the NFC side is a little bit different because instead of it being Cardinals and Panthers, it's going to be Rams and Seahawks, which is really interesting to me for a variety of reasons. I mean, it's something that I gotta say, if you actually watched Game Day earlier this morning and you seen the segment with Pauline Wolf stringing together the strings of fate and all this other stuff that just works out as wild coincidences, it's just crazy. But one thing she pointed out is that there's Mike versus Sean on both sides of this shit. Mike Vrabel versus Sean Payton out here, and then of course later on it'll be Sean McVay versus Mike McDonald over in Seattle. Like, just if you've seen that segment, that shit is just something else in and of itself. I don't know that I've actually seen anything quite as wild as that, but to me, I'm feeling pretty good with how a lot of this is going to wind up going. You got to think about the matchups. Of course, they're receiving for against our secondary. They're going to try to find ways around PS2, try to expose Riley Moss, which I don't know if that's working quite the same as it once was. He hasn't really been flagged in quite some time. Knock on wood, and I don't expect that to be the case today, but who knows? Anything's possible. I mean, I would imagine things could get chippy here and there. It's pretty high stakes situation when it boils down to it. I mean, we're talking an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl out in Santa Clara, which again the Broncos did 10 years ago and they won, but that's neither here nor there. I think the one thing I'm really looking forward to is just seeing what Jarrett Stidham's going to be like in this. I very much feel pretty confident with what he's capable of. He's going to be a very steady hand for the offense. And to me, I'm just looking forward to seeing how Sean Payton navigates through the earlier stages of the game. As long as there aren't too many mistakes, I mean, I'm pretty sure there will be some here and there, especially by both sides, because we'll talk about the New England side here in a moment. But just being perfectly honest, it's been pointed out, 750 days just about. I think the exact number was 749, but either way, that was the last time that Jared Stidham had an actual start in the NFL. I mean, that's just crazy to think about. It was with Sean Payton putting him in place of Russell Wilson, which that was actually a welcome change at that point. And I really wasn't expecting a whole lot at that time because I really didn't know that much about Jared Stidham. I just know that he had a previous start out in Vegas against the 49ers where he looked pretty good. But with the way things were shaping out for the Broncos at that point in time, again, I wasn't expecting much. It was, I believe, a 5-13 season or 5-12. Either way, it just wasn't anything to write home about. And of course, we ultimately ended up sending Russell Wilson packing, and all for the better, obviously. We had Bo Nix come through. Drake May is with the Patriots, of course. Man, I gotta say, it's just amazing the things that have unfolded just the last few years, let alone the last 10. And to me, just seeing what we have in front of us, speaking of the Patriots, it's actually kind of crazy because they've actually had a hell of a season. You can talk about them having a soft schedule, which they did. And then, of course, having an injured O line in the Chargers and an O line that just, I'm not sure what to make of the O line of the Houston Texans, but it ain't the O line of the Denver Broncos. That's for damn show. But more than anything else, I'm thinking about their O line, specifically Will Campbell, and them having to contain Nick Benito and company. I mean, he's going to wind up having to get double team help left and right, which for me leads to believing that there's going to be openings for other dudes to get through to Drake May. And even if not, again, it's their receiving core against our secondary. You know, they're going to have some success at times, but it's not going to be like it has been in the last couple of weeks or any other point in this season because for the most part, they're going to be getting locked down. They just are. And what that's going to lead to is a tendency that Drake May has in standing in the pocket a little too long trying to make things happen. And that's where we're really going to wind up having our guys getting home. Nick Benito, Jonah Ellis, Jonathan Cooper, Dondre Tillman. I don't know why I keep wanting to call him Devondre, but either way, them boys is going to put a hurting on him today. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You also got JFM, Zach Allen, DJ Jones, Malcolm Roach. I mean, need I say more? I mean, we got more going for us in terms of the pass rush than New England does, and just the notion of them actually even having anything in favor of them in terms of matchups, it's just laughable at best. I don't know any other way to look at that, but I expect it to be a very, very competitive matchup. I gave my predictions back on Friday, 31 to 23, or yeah, 31 to 24, 30 to 23, something along those lines. But it's going to be a tough one today, y'all. I don't expect that to not be the case just because the matchups favor the Broncos as strongly as they do at this moment. Doesn't mean it's not going to be a dogfight. We're talking the AFC Championship and a right to go to Super Bowl 60. It doesn't get any bigger than this, y'all. And I know I kind of rambled a bit here. I'm just a lot of thoughts on my mind right now, especially getting ready for the game. We're within an hour and 20 minutes of kickoff, and I'm hyped. Let me know what y'all are thinking down below. How y'all feeling? How y'all doing today? Y'all know what it is. If y'all enjoy the content, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when more is coming through. And it's been A&J. I'll see you in an hour and 20.